Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sacred Mothers and Goddesses Oracle deck by Claudia Olivios. So this is a new deck to my collection that I actually mentioned in a sort of deck haul at the end of 2020, and I had showed this deck just briefly amongst a bunch of others that I had purchased for the end of the year, but I really wanted to take the time to kind of explore this deck a little bit more in detail. Now, I originally had mentioned that I was thinking about doing a sort of goddess comparison video, perhaps including this deck in that, and that was kind of the focal point, or going to be the focal point of it. But when I really started looking through this deck and diving into the goddesses and the sacred mothers that are in it, I realized that a lot of the decks I have, while they have similar themes or archetypes, the energy with this deck is completely different than anything else that I own. So rather than kind of muddling it up and mixing it in with everything else, I really wanted to kind of give this deck its place in the spotlight and really just take a look at it and talk about it all on its own. So it comes in a beautiful two-piece box. This is a Blue Angel deck, and inside you can see the cards sit in here, and we have the guidebook at the bottom. I will definitely be taking a look at the guidebook, but I want to jump right into these cards first of all. So here we have the beautiful backs of the cards, which are quite lovely. Every time I pull this deck out, I think I need to edge these cards in the tea stain distressed ink because it is basically the color of this beautiful border. I think it would look so pretty, maybe add a little bit of gold fleck to it, and that's probably something that's going to happen before too terribly long, because I'm really excited about that actually. But let's go ahead and take a look at these beautiful cards first. So let's take a quick look at all of these beautiful cards, because this artwork is just breathtaking. And I am going to try to pronounce their names for the most part. I will hopefully not slaughter too many of them, and will hopefully be able to pronounce them properly. So we start with the Celtic Sun Goddess and Irish Fairy Queen, Ain for Reclaim Joy. We have the Greek goddess of the Hunt and Moon, Artemis, with independence and empowerment. We have Athena, the Greek warrior goddess, with wisdom and knowledge. The Egyptian cat goddess, Bast, with guardian and protectress. We have several of the Taras in this deck. So the first one we come across is the Blue Tara for Transmutation of Anger. Here we have the Native American Butterfly Maiden with openness and renewal. We have the Greek goddess of grain, Demeter, with hope. Another Greek goddess for peace and the patroness of wealth and prosperity. We have Irene with peace. Here we have our Norse goddess Freya with sensuality. Another Greek goddess with Gaia, the mother goddess. She is the creator of the universe, and her keyword is evolution. We have another of our Taras, the green Tara with compassion and empathy. We have the Egyptian moon goddess Hathor with celebrate life. Here we have Hecate in her Greek representation and spelling for magic and crossroads. Here we have another Greek goddess with Hera for amplified awareness. Here we have our Egyptian goddess Isis with sacred unions and relationships. We have our Mayan goddess of the moon, Shel, with fertility and healing. I probably mispronounced that one. I apologize. Next, we have our powerful Hindu goddess Kali with endings and beginnings. So here we have Kateri. I will probably, again, mispronounce that wrong. I apologize. She was the daughter of a chief of the Mohawk Turtle Clan and became the first Native American to be canonized by the Catholic Church. So really interesting. And her keyword is fearless authenticity. Beautiful card there. So we have the moon goddess of Chile and Argentina with ancestors and past life. Here we have our Hindu goddess Lakshmi with abundance and good fortune. Another Hindu goddess, we have Lalita, the divine mother, with follow your bliss. We have Mama Kocha, the Incan goddess of the oceans, with deep dive and shadow work. So here we have Mary Magdalene, more divine feminine than actual goddess. She was the 13th and closest disciple of Jesus and was known as the apostle to the apostles, sometimes called the first apostle. Her keywords are courage and visionary. And of course, following her, we have Mother Mary, mother to Jesus of Nazareth, also known as the Virgin Mary, the Queen of Angels, Miriam, and of course, her keywords are unconditional love and faith. So here we have the Queen of Fairies, an ancient Irish queen, Unag, for creative solutions. We have Pachamama, the Mother Earth goddess of the Andes, with Mother Nature and grounding. We have Psyche, the Greek goddess of the soul and the third eye, with third eye knowledge and intuition. Here we have Kuan Yin, the Buddhist goddess of compassion, with the keyword of forgiveness. So we have the Welsh lunar goddess Rhiannon with self-love, the Celtic and Roman sun goddess Sulis Minerva with justice and healing. So here we have the Aztec moon goddess and partner of sin. Her keywords are restoration and transformation. Next, we have our Slavic goddess Vesna, whose name means messenger, and her keywords are awakening and victory. So here we have another of our Taras with the white Tara for life force, health, and longevity. She's followed by our yellow Tara with wealth and prosperity. Here we have the African goddess Yamaya with surrender and soothe. And finally, we have a couple of priestess cards. So we have the priestess of divination, the priestess of healing waters, the priestess of the triple moon, the priestess of the gift to serve, and finally, the card of Embrace the Sacred Feminine. So I thought it was just really interesting to see the different cultures that were represented throughout this deck. I am curious to see what's going to be included in some of the upcoming decks, to see what goddesses and what cultures, and we get pulled into those ones. But overall, I think it's a pretty nice mix of goddesses. Again, I do have other goddess decks, and I originally had said I'm gonna do a comparison video, but when I sat down to really look through this one deck, I really feel that it has a completely different energy than my other goddesses. So now that we've had a look through the cards, let's go ahead and take a look at the guidebook here. I have started reading it. It is quite lovely. So we do have a little bit of an introduction here. So a little bit about initiation, a 3-card spread, how to read the cards, how to use the guidebook. So pretty much your basic oracle introduction information. We have creating sacred space, oracle card rituals, setting up circle, and then we move into the card meanings. So for each card, we have, of course, the little black and white picture, the name, the keyword, and then a little bit about the goddess or sacred mother that we've received. We have a message from that particular divine feminine as well, and a little bit of information about times when you might want to call on that particular goddess or sacred mother to help you in your practice. We have activities and rituals and a card spread for everyone, and then a little bit of information about creating an altar for that particular card. So this is kind of what I mean when I say that I don't have another goddess deck that really goes into this kind of detail or has this kind of energy. The closest deck that I could really think of was the Goddess Oracle, because it does have a guidebook that's a little bit similar in its approach, and that it has wonderful messages and rituals and things of that nature. But I love the breakdown of this particular book. We get just a little bit of information, enough to kind of just get us going on our work with each of these goddesses, a message from the goddess herself or the sacred mother, and when to incorporate her into your practice and life, when you might want to call on her. Then we also have the activities and rituals. And one of the things that I really like is that each one has an individual spread. So where I feel this is going for me is that I will be pulling one of these goddesses or sacred mothers and then actually using the spread with a tarot deck around it to pull in that energy and to answer the spread questions. So I can kind of see that as being where this is going. And I kind of think that maybe what tarot deck I pair it with might actually be determined in the moment based on who I pull. So I think that would be a really interesting way to work with this deck, really to be a bit more intuitive and in the moment, which a lot of times when I do multiple card readings or multiple deck readings, I kind of think about it and they get kind of paired a little bit beforehand. And I could see this being really interesting to actually pull a card and then see what deck might fit it. So maybe we'll do that after we kind of finish looking through things here. So we have that information on all of the goddesses and sacred mothers in here. I also really like the space on creating an altar. I think that you could tie these associations into many other things. You could also incorporate it into some spell work or intention setting, as well as creating altar space. So I do really like that it has that for each and every one. And again, that spread for each and every one. I feel like that is really a strong point of this particular deck. So here we have the priestesses, and it looks like we just have a message for the priestess. We have a spread as well, which is fantastic. Here we have a little bit about the artist. So now for fun, I thought it would be kind of cool to actually shuffle these cards and pull a card and maybe see how the spreads work and what kind of a reading we might get out of that. I can tell you, with as big as these cards are, if I keep adding to it, I'm not going to be able to shuffle them, or riffle shuffle them, I should say. For right now, I can still riffle shuffle them. I would gladly give up being able to riffle shuffle it for a bunch more cards. The cardstock is absolutely lovely. It is a beautiful matte finish. The colors are fantastic, as you can see. They're just bold and beautiful. It does riffle shuffle nicely, and it does overhand shuffle nicely. Might be able to side shuffle it, particularly when it gets a little bit bigger. Actually, you can side shuffle it quite well. So let's go ahead and pull one of these cards and see what the spread is, and maybe I'll see what kind of a tarot deck I might pull with it. So here we have Sulis Minerva with Justice and Healing. Let us look at the prompt or the spread for this particular goddess. Do like that they are all numbered. That makes it easier to find in the book. So we have Sulis Minerva is the Celtic and Roman goddess associated with the city of Bath, known in Roman times as Aqua Sulis, which means Sulis waters. I may be mispronouncing any or all of that. My apologies. So her message is justice and fairness are available to help you with the imbalance of energy brought out by old wounds. Be mindful of how you move around in the world, as karma will work on your behalf. Seek the best outcomes and highest good for all involved. Do not remain silent. Speak up with the sincerity for yourself and for those who do not have a voice. Focus on taking care of your well-being, both emotional and physical. You have the power and ability to heal yourself and others, and it begins with the choices you make starting now. So let's take a look at her spread. So she has a 3-card spread with what will help heal me, where is my strength, and what action must I take. So let's look at what tarot do I want to pull. She is a Celtic and Roman goddess. I'm kind of feeling, I know it's not going to surprise you any, but I'm kind of feeling the Llewellyn Tarot with her. I feel like the energy is just going to be really compatible. So let's go ahead and just pull some of those. Maybe we'll do another one as well and try some different decks. What will help heal me? We have the Three of Cups. Where is my strength? Let's go ahead and put that over there. We have the Three of Swords. And what action must I take? The Two of Cups. Beautiful. So what will help heal me? Maybe looking to others to support me on my journey. Where is my strength? My strength is in cultivating those good mindful practices. And what action must I take? That coming together and creating unions and commitments that will bring justice and healing. How beautiful is that? Let's try that again with another deck. So let's put her back in there. Let's go ahead and shuffle again. I'm actually just going to do a side shuffle with this deck. And probably mostly overhand. Vesna, Awakening and Victory. So she is a Slavic goddess, and oh, I'm wishing right now I had that Golden Wheel Tarot, because I feel like that would be the one. That would be the one that I'd be pulling for her. In the meantime, I'm feeling the Spiral Tarot for her. I very rarely show this deck on my channel. I am still working with it. I have not trimmed it. These aren't exactly from the same pantheon or anything, but I'm feeling like their energies would be really compatible. I do love this little deck. I always forget to talk about it. So I'm not going to read the whole thing or we'll be here forever. I think, as I mentioned, she's one of the most well-known Slavic goddesses, particularly in Serbia and Slovenia. Her name means messenger, but the word Vesna originates from Sanskrit. It means illuminated and shiny. She's a fertility goddess who brought renewal, the spring. Let's do it a little bit different this time. Let's go ahead and do the cards, and then we'll take a look at her message overall. We're just gonna kind of go with this on the flow here. So the first card is, what am I awakening to? And we have the World. How beautiful is that? What will allow me freedom from illusion? We have the Empress. Beautiful. So how will my life change once I step into my newly awakened perspective? We have the King of Wands. And what will support me in this process? We have the Two of Wands. Interesting, then I got Wands all on this side and Majors all on this side, with Vesna in the middle. So now that we've pulled those cards for our kind of expanded message, let's look to Vesna here for our kind of wrap-up message in the guidebook. So it says, victory has come or is on its way. Stay on course and focus on your role. Allow things to blossom in their season. Even though you fall back into your old ways of thinking at times, you are awakening and starting to see things differently. Keep focusing on this new vision. As you continue to grow from tight bud into your fully flowered awakening, help will be given so you see life, the universe, as it really is. Like the gradual opening of the third eye, opening and blooming after winter, awaken to the knowledge that you are a sacred being. So I do quite like that, using the kind of goddess as the central point. So using your tarot to tap into the spread for that particular goddess, and then at the end coming back to the goddess's individual message from the guidebook to really wrap up the reading. I think that's really beautiful. Let's just do one more. We'll see if I have time to kind of squeeze it in. So here we have Athena, Wisdom and Knowledge. What deck do I want to pair with that? I am thinking for Athena, we are going to pull in my newly trimmed, but still not edged because I haven't done that yet. Mythic Tarot. This is, of course, the out of print 1986 edition. I have finally gotten around to trimming it, but I haven't had a chance to edge it yet, but it is stunning. I did trim Lisa's copy and I have a video on my channel if you want to check that out. That was a bad shuffle. I should not talk and pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm feeling like any deck that had a lot of blue in it would also be well, like the Star Tarot. That would be another good one. Okay. So we have Athena here, who is the Greek goddess of wisdom, a powerful and wise warrior goddess who battles using her wits and diplomacy. So that gives us a little bit of background information, and we'll look to her 3-card spread now. So the first prompt is, what do I need to know right now? So I think that is the 8 of Wands. I'm still getting to know this deck. So what knowledge and wisdom are being revealed? We have our Chariot. And what do I need to know to develop further? Our Knight of Cups. Beautiful. That's quite a lot of fun to use these cards as a central point for a tarot reading. I quite like that. I'm just kind of curious. There are a couple of decks that are like coming to mind for a few of these cards. I feel like the Star Tarot would be a beautiful pairing for a reading with Athena here. Quite gorgeous. There's a couple other that are coming to mind that I'm just gonna grab and we're gonna play with. So just kind of playing with a couple others here. I'm feeling like the Art of Love here would pair beautifully with our Mary Magdalene card. Look at that. As well, I think it would pair beautifully with the Mother Mary. Gorgeous. I'm kind of digging this deck with this oracle. I even feel like, I don't know why I keep doing just 3. I'm kind of feeling like this one is working with a lot of these cards. Feeling like maybe the Art of Love might be a good match overall. Let's just throw some down here and see. So we have Yamaya with the 4 of Stars for advancement and the Force for strength. Kind of love that. Look at this. The Yellow Tara with the 4 of Hearts for depression and the Moon for illusion. The King of Stars and the Magician. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm thinking that the Art of Love is a beautiful deck to pair with the Sacred Mothers and Goddesses. Oh, how about the new Tarot of Trees? Let's see how that one pairs. Did we already look at these ones? I think we did. Let's start here. These are almost the same size. I'm doing this totally backwards now. That's quite beautiful. Kali with the Magician and the 10 of Swords. Interesting. Endings and beginnings. That's kind of beautiful. These have a really similar card stock. The Tarot of Trees and the Sacred Mothers. Really similar card stock. So Lakshmi with abundance and good fortune. We have the 2 of Swords and the, I think that's the Empress. Yes, it is. Look at that. Kind of digging this one too. These have a very compatible art style. So I'm thinking that's kind of why they work so well together. kind of liking that. That's really quite beautiful. Feel like the Spacious Tarot is going to be quite compatible as well. This is going to be a really long video. Feel free to skip around. So we have the White Tarot with Life Force, Health, and Longevity with the Five of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles. Interesting. The Spacious Tarot is also almost bringing a bit of a modern feel to the sacred goddesses and sacred mothers and goddesses. Look at this. We have Hathor between Justice and the Hermit. Freya with the Three of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. I do think this does actually work quite well together. Maybe not quite as potent for me personally as some of the other pairings that we've had, but the Spacious Tarot brings some minimalist energy to it. It brings a little bit of simplicity, and I do quite like that. I think that's beautiful. Look at that. Threes for that deep dive shadow work with Mama Kocha. Beautiful. Two Childs with Demeter. She is a goddess mother, so having our Child of Swords and our Child of Pentacles, I think that works quite well. So yeah, the Spacious Tarot, I think that's another really good pairing. Oh, look at the colors on that one. We have Bast with the Guardian and Protectress with the Five of Wands and the Guardian of Swords. How beautiful is that? Okay, let's call it good there, because that is a beautiful note to end on. This deck really just, even though as I mentioned, I have other decks, right, that have goddesses in them, there is something different about this artwork and the energy of this deck. I'm not sure that I can quite put my finger on it, but it feels very different from anything else in my collection. And so I'm really glad that I went ahead and got it, and I have full intentions of purchasing whatever decks that she creates to add on to this particular deck and add on to this oracle set. And so I'm looking forward to at some point having a ginormous collection of these cards to be sort of like my maybe one and only Sacred Mothers and Goddesses deck. I think that would be really fantastic. I do quite love her artwork. It's very soft, it's very feminine, it's very enchanting, and it does definitely tap into that sort of heart space and sacred feminine energy for me. So it really is a wonderful deck in terms of its energy and its artwork. And it really isn't like anything else that I have in my collection. Because I pulled out a bunch of my decks and I was trying to find something that it was similar to, because on first glance I thought, oh, it's a goddess deck. I have those, but I don't have anything like this. It is different. It does have a different energy. It does have a different feel to it. The only deck that I feel like really comes close is my Mother Mary Oracle, which I don't have here because it actually lives by my bed. But again, that's all just Mother Mary. So it has the same kind of energy for me, but that's just focused on one divine feminine energy, where this one really encompasses the whole world. And I really love that about it. So I'm actually quite pleased to have it because it is quite different than anything else I do have, really, in terms of the artwork and the imagery and what is included in the guidebook, which I think is just really fantastic. And I do hope that any other decks that come out, I really, really hope that they do the same process with the guidebook. I really hope the cards are the same size, the same finish. I hope nothing changes. I hope the backs are the same, because I would love to be able to continue to add to this deck and to add the new cards and to make this beautiful, one gigantic, beautiful collection of sacred mothers and goddesses. So if anybody is watching from Blue Angel, please make sure they all fit together seamlessly so that I can create a gigantic oracle deck. Please and thank you. I would appreciate it. So I really enjoyed taking a look at this deck and kind of playing with it, with pairing it with my different tarots. That is definitely something I'm going to be doing again in the future. If you have this deck, I would love to know what your experience has been with it, so feel free to share with me in the comments below. Thank you for joining me today. You'll find links for everything featured here in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.